are searching, come on in. We're all on this journey that starts within. If you got a burden, come lay it on down. Raise up your voices as we gather around. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you came to be in this community, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. If you are joyful or you're concerned, come share your story. The chalice flame burns. If your heart is broken, you've been disowned, come join our circle. Turn off your phones. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you came to be in this community, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. If you are running, you got the right to seek sanctuary, guided by the light. If you hear that calling, come join the fight. Marching for justice, candles lit in the night. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you came to be in this community, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Here we go, last time, big finish. You are welcome here. Thank you.
Eric, thank you so much for that wonderful song. It's special to us every time we hear it. Our chalice lighting this morning is adapted from the Reverend Charles A. Howe. Improvisation brings us the delight of something new and unexpected. We light this chalice to affirm that new light is ever waiting to break through to enlighten our ways. That new truth is ever waiting to break through to illumine our minds, and that new love is ever waiting to break through to warm our hearts. May we be open to this light and to the rich possibilities that it brings us. So now, for the Spirit of Life, Warren, do we have one? No. Eric, might we impose on you to play Spirit of Life for us?
Well, it just so happens I have prepared that song. Okay.
You are awesome.
1, 2, 3, and Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you, thank you. Here we are improvising right on the spot, just in the spirit of today's service. Our offering words this morning: improv, like religion and community, isn't a solo endeavor. Author and musician Tom Piazza writes in the Guide to Classic Recorded Jazz, in a jazz group, as in any community, certain roles need to be filled. Someone has to play the melody, someone has to keep time, someone has to suggest the harmonic context. Playing in a jazz group and being a member or friend of this congregation involves both responsibility and freedom. Freedom consists of understanding your responsibility well enough to act independently and still make the needed contributions to the group. We are deeply grateful for the many and varied contributions of time, talent, and treasure to our fellowship, and for your improvisation. Our song of gratitude this morning is written by Eric Bannon and Joe Newberry, entitled "If You Cant Fly."
All right. This song was written based on a reading from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that goes something like this: if you can't fly, then you can run. If you can't run, then you can walk. If you can't walk, then you can crawl. But keep on moving forward. This was suggested to me by Joe Newberry. And Joe Newberry's a big deal in the bluegrass world. He's also a dear friend of mine. We wrote this song the day after the inauguration in January. Take a step in the right direction to the intersection where you turn. Are you the mirror or the reflection? That's the question. That's how we learn. If you can't run, then you can walk. A little more listen, a little less talk. If you can't fly, you can run out of the darkness into the sun. We can love as a revolution, heal the confusion and the pain. Can't you see it's a real solution? There's no question, there's no shame. If you can't run, then you can walk. A little more listen, a little less talk. If you can't fly, you can run out of the darkness into the sun. When we learn to be forgiving, it's gonna make the living worth its while without taking, only giving. Greet a stranger with a smile. If you can run, then you can walk. A little more listen, a little less talk. If you can't fly, you can run out of the darkness into the sun. Out of the darkness into the sun.
I think Eric just got introduced, so we couldn't hear that on Zoom. Eric, take it away.
Improvisation. Improvisation is a gift, a necessity, a skill, a dance with the unknown. It is a practice of approaching the unknown not with fear, but with curiosity and with trust that the path will be revealed. It's about staying awake, all senses vibrant, as you learn to be available to it all, including the fear and the endless possibilities of each new moment. This is a quote from the book Vocal River, The Skill and Spirit of Improvisation. This book is the Bible, so to speak, for vocal improvisers in jazz and contemporary music today. It was written by a woman named Rhiannon, a celebrated improviser and teacher of improvisation who continues to push the boundaries of what it means to improvise even today. Now, whenever I read something like that first passage, I think about our fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And I believe the fourth principle gives us permission to make friends with the unknown and dance with the uncertain. So what does it mean to improvise? Now, this can be a big, scary concept, right? But my favorite definition of improvisation I heard directly from Rhiannon herself in a seminar. She was working with a student who was struggling a great deal. And I'm paraphrasing her here, but she said, improvisation is the art of forgiving yourself again and again and again. And I always keep that close to my heart when I'm trying to improvise something and I stumble or I forget or I fall on my face. Now, various dictionary definitions of, I think the sanctuary is not muted. I think there's some other people who are not muted either. So I can hear. various dictionary definitions include the art or act of improvising or composing, uttering, executing, or arranging anything without previous preparation. To make, to invent, or arrange offhand, as in the quarterback improvised the play. Well, he fumbled the ball, but he picked it up and ran with it, right? Maybe he scored a touchdown. Maybe she scored a touchdown. You know, we've got a female high school football player here in my town on the varsity team. Boy, talk about improvisation. Or here's another great definition of improvisation: to make or fabricate out of what is conveniently on hand. For example, to improvise a meal. Now, I would argue that we're all improvising all day, every day. Most of the conversations we have every day are improvised. Think about that. Now, let's say you get home from work and you're tired and hungry and you need to feed yourself. Now, if you have a family or roommates, they're elsewhere, they've already had dinner. And if you're like me, you know occasionally what's for dinner, but very often in my house, what's for dinner is a mystery. So you look in the fridge and you see there's spinach, bell peppers, and eggs. And wait a minute, there's a jar of salsa. I give it a sniff and it's still good. And I decide, whoa. Or maybe you decide, well, I think I'll make a spinach bell pepper omelet with a dash of salsa. And maybe you've never made a spinach omelet before, but you make it and it tastes great, and congratulations, you have just improvised dinner. Now, my journey as a musical improviser has had many twists and turns. Back in the early 80s, I was a jazz guitar major at Daytona Beach Community College. I'm pretty sure I was the first jazz guitar major in the school's history. Now, at this time in my musical life, I knew a lot of songs and I could sing and play well enough to earn some money in the numerous beachside nightclubs, and I played happy hours in a lot of biker bars. Now, I was writing some songs, but this idea of improvising, making music out of the air without a script to follow or a song, was a mystery to me. So I started learning scales. It was kind of like reciting the alphabet. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So I spent a lot of time practicing scales, and I got really good at practicing scales. I mean, if they ever did an album of scales, they could probably have given me a call back then, and I'd have made it work. But for some reason, I was never able to make the connection. I could never make all this practice sound like music. So after a year or so of this, as a music major, I switched my major to computer science, right? And I went back to learning music by ear and from the other musicians I played with. Nothing wrong with that, right? Well, later on, as I was playing blues, I spent some time learning guitar solos from my favorite artists like Hendrix and Santana and ZZ Top. And I could regurgitate what these players were doing well enough to as not embarrass myself in front of a crowd. And I was having a lot of fun. Remember that word, fun. But I remember a conversation with a fabulous lead guitar player, and I asked him how he did what he did, and he said, dude, I just play what I hear in my head. Huh. I just play what I hear in my head. Boy, that's a mystery, huh? Now, around this time, I heard a quote from bebop saxophonist Charlie Parker, who said, first you learn your horn, then you forget about it and just play. Well, I was thinking, well, maybe I hadn't learned my instrument well enough. Or maybe I was playing the wrong instrument. I didn't know what to think. Again, the mystery, this dance of the unknown. But I thought it was okay because I could sing. I enjoyed writing songs. I could play the guitar well enough to accompany myself. It was all good. People loved what I did. So In 2017, at SUSE, the Southeast Unitarian Universalist Institute, which I'm sure many of you have been to or are at least aware of, I took a vocal improvisation workshop with Pat Wichter. I know there's some Pat Wichter fans out here today. Now, this workshop was fun. I mean, I didn't need to bring a guitar. I didn't need to rehearse anything. We just made music in the moment. It was like making dinner with whatever was in the fridge. Now, Pat knows some really cool stuff. And he was always happy to share stories of the people he'd learned it from. And in his workshop, he talked about the Vocal River book and the methodology for singers to improvise without a leader. No direction. Making music out of whatever's at hand. He also talked about this workshop at the Omega Institute that they have every year called Circle Songs. It was led by Bobby McFerrin, who's one of the most innovative improvisers who's ever lived. Another teacher of mine had attended this workshop and spoke of this workshop with great reverence. So I started thinking, maybe there's something to this vocal improvisation. Maybe I can take another step closer to the mystery I've been struggling with for so long. And so in early 2018, I signed up for Circle Songs in August of that year. I mean, I signed up as soon as registration opened. I was rubbing my hands together thinking, oh man, this is going to be great. Then in the last week of July of 2018, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I went through chemotherapy, and I came out the other side of this ordeal with a second chance at life. So what was I going to do with it? What am I going to do with the second chance at life? And now it was a while before I was well enough to travel again. But in 2019, I signed up for Circle Songs again. I was going to go this year. I mean, I still had a chemo port in my chest, but by God, I was going to this workshop. When I arrived there, I wasn't sure what to think. I was a little intimidated. I kind of felt like a fish out of water being a songwriter in a vast ocean of improvisers. And I'd never really encountered this level of talent, skill, and experience all in one place before. For orientation at this Circle Song things, there were 150 or so of us, took off our shoes and filed into this big sunny hall with hardwood floors and formed a big circle. And Bobby McFerrin had us, came out and he said, okay, I want you guys to line up by range. The low voices here, middle voices here, high voices over here. And Bobby got in the middle of the group and started riffing. And he gave that part to one section. And then he moved over and he harmonized it. So all of a sudden, then he went around the room and made up different kinds of parts. He did harmonies and counter melodies and all kind of contrasting stuff. Next thing you know, we had 150 people in a room, all in about 5 or 6 sections, all singing this spontaneously improvised choral arrangement. And Bobby, he's just sitting there in the middle, and he made a few adjustments, and then he starts soloing over it. And I'm like, I was stunned at the brilliance and the audacity of what I was being a part of here. I mean, I'd never seen anything like this in person, and I was thinking, wow, I'm not sure I can do this. Now, as the week went by, though, it was 7 days, 7 full days. They had this amazing staff of instructors that patiently showed us how this was done. All week, I marveled at the people that were taking solos over these grooves that they'd created. I mean, I could come up with simple patterns, But when it came to taking a solo or coming up with something like really musical, making it sing, I was at a loss. Now, I asked Judy Menard, one of the instructors, about this, and she touched her index finger to my forehead and said this: you have a lifetime of music in you. All you have to do is open your mouth and let it out. How was I going to do that? She gave me an assignment. She said, every day when you get home, set your kitchen timer for 5 minutes. That's all it takes to learn how to improvise, people. If you're interested in this, kitchen timer, 5 minutes, open your mouth and sing. And whatever comes out, say yes to it. All those voices that are saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, oh, you don't know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. The more you sing, the more you do this, those voices will all just go away. So I did this for a year, every day. After about 4 or 5 months, I could improvise. It wasn't all that interesting, and I wasn't all that confident, but I could feel that there was something happening. I was making it happen in the moment. I was in a flow state. Okay? I could feel the difference. Now, in positive psychology, going to switch gears here just a little bit. Positive psychology, a flow state, known colloquially as being in the zone, is the mental state in which a person performing some activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment of the process of that activity. I feel this way sometimes when I'm riding my bike in the mountains and I'm on a trail and I'm just flying down that mountain. In essence, flow is characterized by the complete absorption in what one does and a resulting transformation in one's sense of time. The more I practiced, the more time I spent in the flow state. Now, there's times when it's happening. There are times when it's not. The larger lesson in all of this was a need for me to be opening to what is happening in my heart and my mind and in the world around me. What is happening, being open to this larger mystery of life and the universe and all these forces that are of spirit that are brought to bear on us every day. Now, my dear friend Lynn Kuntz is music director of the Hinshaw United Methodist Church. I imagine she's leading her choir right now. Lynn's classically trained. She's been the music director there for 25 years. And I asked her, now Lynn is also a passionate improvisation. She's one of my best singing partners, right? When I asked her what role improvisation played in her life, she said, and I quote, "My hope is that improvisation will keep me humbly seeking a higher calling, to help me let go of inhibition and give me an openness in which to channel it." So just for a moment, let's take a step back from the idea of improvisation as art. And let's try and see it as part of the journey in our day-to-day lives. I would encourage you in the coming week to be mindful of where you might be improvising. Who knows? When you're driving your car, maybe somebody cuts you off and you have to go around them or something. Maybe where are we improvising? Where are we in a flow state? Improvisation is the art of forgiving ourselves again and again. Improvisation is about being in the moment, here, now, wherever here and now is for you. Improvisation is about listening and being flexible. Improvisation is about seeking a connection with a higher power. Improvisation is about making something out of whatever is at hand, whether it's dinner or a situation we find ourselves in. This can mean accepting what is in our lives, seeing opportunities instead of problems. So I would invite us all to be singers. I would invite us all to be improvisers all day, every day. May you find a way to embrace the dance. May you find your own way to embrace the dance with the unknown. Amen. And may this be so. Sanctuary is muted. I can't hear anybody.
Yes. There we go.
Wonderful. Now we're good? Yay. Eric, thank you so much for your message and for your songs. As a reminder, our closing sequence is a bit different, with joys and concerns and conversation following our covenant. Your feedback to the worship team is most welcome. Eric, offer us our closing song, For What It's Worth, written by Stephen Stills.
All right. This song was written by Stephen Stills. Some of you might be familiar with him from Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young or the Buffalo Springfield. This song came out in January of 1965. I think you can always tell a great song because it's as relevant today as it was back when it was released many, many, many years ago. Again, I would invite you to sing along at home if you know it, and even if you don't, you'll catch the chorus every time it comes around 4 times. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Hey, watch that sound. Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. I think it's time we stop. Hey, watch that sound. Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and carrying signs, mostly saying hooray for our side. I think it's time we stop. Hey, watch that sound. Everybody look what's going down. I would like to thank the Franklin UU for having me as a guest in y'all's house of worship today. Thanks to Mary Teslo and Annette for hosting, and everybody who is working behind the scenes, and thanks for everybody who came today. Paranoia strikes deep. Into your life it will creep. Starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, Man, come and take you away. I think it's time we stop. Hey, watch that sound. Everybody look what's going. Hey, stop. Hey, watch that sound. Everybody look what's... Stop. Hey, watch that sound. Everybody look what's going down. What's going down? What's going down? What's going down? Thank you.
Thank you again, Eric. Our closing words. At the heart of improv is the practice of yes and. The first player makes a statement and the second begins their response with the words, yes and. Yes and is all about accepting what others have to offer. By saying yes, we accept the reality created by our partners. After the and, we offer new information and engage in the joy of the collaborative process. What might it be like to take this practice into our fellowship life? We don't discount something quickly because it's something we've never encountered before. For example, a perspective or a partnership. What might committee meetings look like if we practice saying yes and? How might it transform our gatherings and social life? What about our social justice efforts? Together we can explore these questions. Together we can experiment with the spiritual practice of saying yes and. And from that place of acceptance, we might allow ourselves and our world to be transformed. As the flame is to spirit, so spirit is to breath and breath to song. Though we extinguish the flame in this sanctuary, may we tend it in our hearts until we are together again. When we are together, we circle our round sanctuary and join hands for our closing circle in covenant. For now, we will join together in spirit as we recite our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and community is its goal. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So may it be.